Hello, everybody, and welcome to the JVology Partner Spotlight. I'm your host, Krista Inochvosky, and today the spotlight is on Steve Eriksen, the MidLife Solopreneur. How are you today, Steve?
I am doing great, Krista. How are you?
Doing good. So happy to have you. I know you have a lot of amazing things in the works and happening right now to share with our JVology community. Let's first acknowledge I think the cool thing is you are all the way over in Norway. And how on earth did you get connected here with us at JVology?
Well, Jay came and did a talk in another group I belonged to. And after that, I looked him up, went to the JVology Live, and I bought into the JV Mastery because I thought it was a fantastic offer that you have. And yeah, that's it, really. It's I'm all for connecting people and working with people. And that's, I work with solopreneurs, and one of my slogans is like, you might be a solopreneur, but you're not on your own. So working together with other people, doing JVs and things like that is very, very important, in my opinion.
It really is. And that solopreneur position can be very, very lonely. And I think it's another reason that a lot of solopreneurs, I hate to use the word fail, but why they don't actually thrive and succeed and maybe give up too soon is there's more to it than people realize. And it gets lonely if you're not truly connected with a great group. What's your experience been?
Yeah, no, the group and the people you surround yourself with is so important. The challenge that many people are having is when they're starting up something new is that the people you would think would be your support, your nearest and dearest, can often be quite negative, and your friends can be like, "Oh, that's never going to work," and things like that. And and yet, when you are doing this, it's so important to have people who are supporting you and back you up and help you and come up with good suggestions. So in my experience, that collaboration and that working is can make or break you, really, when you're a solopreneur.
Yeah, it really can. And one of the many things that I love about this particular community is you always have a group of people who some are a step ahead of you and some you're a step ahead of them in any of the many different facets that it takes in these business. And so you have people to look to, and you're sharing your experiences along the way and not just out there in this vast wilderness trying to do it on your own.
Absolutely. And having that kind of mastermind with people that you know and trust is so important, whether they are your own coaches or they're just people in the same sphere who's gone through the things that you have done, and whoever you can help as well is so important. And I have to say, helping other people is just as important as receiving help, because when you're helping other people, you get a lot of insights into your own business, because you're coming to it with a different perspective when you're saying, "Oh, that's a good idea for you." And you think, "Ah, that's a good idea for me too."
That's so true. There's a Alice in Wonderland quote that I love, and it says, "I often give myself very good advice, but I very seldom follow it." And it's, often the answer is within us, but we don't realize it until we're sharing it with somebody else. And just like you said, Steve, it's like, as you're saying it to somebody else, you're like, "Oh, I should probably be doing that," and I'm not. So this kind of makes it fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so you use the word midlife solopreneur. Tell me about midlife. How did you decide that, and what does that mean to you?
Well, midlife is very much a state of mind, and it's really up to each individual to define what they call midlife and whether they are in midlife. I met people who are 60 and beyond who are saying, "I haven't reached my midlife yet, I'm still young." And I met people who are like 35 and start considering themselves in midlife. So I really only felt myself that I hit midlife around 50, 51. But that was not because of my age. It was because of what I was going through. Kids have now finally moved out, and we were on our own. And everything changed when you're an empty nester kind of thing. So that for me was my midlife. And the reason I'm aiming at midlife is really that when you're at that stage and you're going, "Okay, I'm finished experimenting. Now, now I'm settling down and now I'm becoming a grown-up and doing the things I need to do," kind of thing. Those are the people that I like to help. These are the people I bond with as well.
So yeah, tell me about that. As you were going through the empty nest stage, did it have any effect on your own career? Did it make you look at the type of work you were doing or work you wanted to do?
Well, actually, for me, it was more a case of when my father passed away. And that's when I really had my wake-up call. I was going through a couple of things at work at the same time. And he passed away from Alzheimer's. And the story here is that he, when I was 7 years old, he went through a bankruptcy. And in Norway, back in this was in 1973, you had to stay in bankruptcy for 10 years. And this bankruptcy was caused by a big company, an oil and gas company, deciding to pull away all the small gas pumps at individual stores. He had a small convenience store. So people had to drive for 15 minutes to the nearest gas station. So and next to that gas station, there was a big supermarket, and they had lower prices and much better selection. So my father was in the position where he lost all of his customers pretty much overnight when he lost the gas pump. So I grew up for 10 years, from 7 to 17, thinking the big guy crushed the little guy, and championing the little guy, and always wanted to be a small business, really. So when my father passed away, I came to a point where I went like, what did he achieve? What have I achieved? What did he want to achieve? And what do I want to achieve? And I just came to a place where I thought, I'm not happy being where I'm being. And trust me, I had a good job. I was the chief technology officer for a company, and I had 7 staff working for me, 6-figure salary, and really, really good position, really secure position in terms of what we were doing, going ahead, etc. And it was just this internal, I'm not happy with what I'm doing. And that's when I started looking at what is my passion, where do I want to be? And that's 6 months later, really, I found what my passion was, which was to help solopreneurs who were struggling and trying to get started and they're not getting started properly.
That's a really interesting story, and thank you for sharing. And I just love it when our own past or our own stories what really shapes the work we end up called to do, and knowing that we're able to help other people step into what's meaningful for them, and not just spend more years doing a job that maybe started off with good intentions or started off exciting, but the job itself just became very mundane or unfulfilling, or in some way not adding to the quality of life, and needing that courage and path and someone to go, you can do it, and this is how.
Yeah. And one of the things I try to do is to be a role model and saying it's possible. Now, it's a little bit challenging because I have 20 years of experience of marketing and psychology and persuasion and technical. I actually have a very broad experience base. So it's easy for me to execute a lot of the things. But even if I can do it in 2 or 3 or 5 months, other people can do it in a year or 2 or 3 years. That's how I look at it. So I don't ever tell anybody to copy what I'm doing. I'm just saying it's possible for you to do this. So bear this in mind. I quit my job in July of 2020 in the middle of a pandemic. And I have had tremendous success in terms of the courses I've been running, the events I've been running, and it's all about like finding out what is people's interest, what is it they want to have solved, what is the challenges they want to have solved. And as long as you are talking into that, you can have success too. And that's really what I'm teaching other solopreneurs, other coaches, authors, speakers to do, is to how do you communicate with your target market? Who is your ideal client? And how do you get them to be interested in what you have to say? So.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting, Steve. I didn't realize how soon it's been since you made that transition, because ever since I've known you these last few months, like I felt like you've been doing this for years and years. I mean, you're so buttoned up and you've got it all together. So you've obviously taken your years of experience and what you're really good at and just made a really good, a great transition in a short period of time. And now that's what you're able to teach other people to do, is how to shorten the curve to get there.
Absolutely. And you shorten the curve also by doing the right things at the right time, as opposed to trying to figure out what you're supposed to do and end up following a lot of different advice and doing the wrong actions at the wrong time. So to give you an example, in the first few months, I did a course, a 6-week course twice. I launched a course from scratch, ran the course twice, and also did a 4-day summit. So I hosted a 4-day summit. I put it together. I got 28 speakers involved, promoted it, and we had between 25 and 55 people, attendees, in every single session of that summit. And that summit was put together in a couple of weeks.
Wow, that's impressive.
So it's possible to do this, and even if you can't move at that pace and you want to move very much slower, you can do it as well. And the great thing is, doing that kind of activity boosted my mailing list by hundreds and hundreds of people, and that then gives you a base to work on and sell more, and that's what I teach people to do, and that's what I help people to do as well.
So tell us what you have coming up. How can people work with you or tune into maybe an upcoming summit? What do you have coming on?
Well, starting on Monday, I got my second summit running. It's actually 5 days this time, and I'm going to have around 36 speakers on it. And it's called the Soloprenuer Accelerator Summit. And what that means, it's all about solopreneurs, coaches, speakers, authors, and it's helping them to go to the next stage in their business. It's aimed at anybody who is, whether you're just starting out, whether you're already making like 50,000 or 150,000. It is helping you explore other things you can do. And one of the things I say to every single speaker is that you've got to give something of value. You can't come in here and do your standard keynote speech without leaving them with something that is actionable that they can do in their business. And that, I think, is what makes a big difference in terms of people keeping them involved and interested in the summit and everything.
So you lined up a great group of not only presenters, but teachers, people that are giving actionable steps so the participants can tune in, be taking notes, and be ready to take action and really find that next level in their business.
Exactly. And so that for me is like I have this framework called the GIVE framework. It's about being generous, being invested in the success of your partner or your client, giving value and having empathy. And with this Soloprenuer Accelerator Summit, it's all about giving value and being generous and asking the speakers here to do the same thing, to give value in everything that they're doing. So that for me is like at the very high priority.
Yes, and how can people get signed up for that? I do have your
Yep.
That help, or do they need to reach out to you? Or I'm sure we have people here that would love to participate in your summit.
Yep, I can give you a link right now to the summit here. I should have had that ready, shouldn't I? I mean, that's bad of me. So there.
All right. We'll get that put in the chat where people can actually click right on it. Good to chat. All right, keep talking.
Yeah. So at the summit, really, it's all and also here's a different thing we're doing about the summit. The first time we did it, it was all live. The presenters are coming up and we're interacting with them. You can ask questions and things for the chat. And in this one, we're doing it a little bit differently from normal summits. We are actually having everybody on camera. It's not in webinar mode. It's in meeting mode on Zoom. Okay. So the presenters love this idea to be able to actually see the people that they're presenting to. And some of the presenters will also allow questions from people. So you can raise your digital hand and you can ask questions and there'll be interaction. And one of the speakers even talked about breakout rooms, etc. And that's quite unusual, I think, throughout the summit. So I'm hoping it's going to be a really good experience for everybody.
I know from both an attendee's perspective and from a speaker's perspective, I would much prefer to be in a room full of people than having a conversation with no idea who's out there, what they're thinking, or if they have questions. So that's great. I like the format.
Good. So, and the other thing I'm doing is I am doing a 3-day event in February, from the 5th to the 7th of February. And this event is all about, well, it's the same theme. I'm very consistent in what I'm doing. I'm trying to stay on the theme at all times. So if you are in a position where you don't have all of your marketing strategies sorted out, you don't have all of the streams of prospects coming into business that you would like to have, you don't know, sometimes your marketing is a little bit hit and miss, you're not converting as much as you want, this is the event, really. It's all about helping coaches at the beginning of their career, whether you've got 5 or 6 figures, and sort out what it's going to look like. It's going to be an interactive workshop style event. We're going to have breakout rooms where you work on your messaging, where you're going to be working on your lead magnets and things like that, and really build up strategies for what you're going to do for the rest of the year for your business. So I'm very excited about that.
I'm excited. It just sounds like it's really what people need to make sure they're moving. And I see entrepreneurs, you get stuck, right? There's this thing that I need to do this, but I don't know how. Maybe it's technology, maybe it's messaging, but somewhere along the line there's this sticking place, and then the momentum gets lost. And and so it sounds like what you're doing really hits all of these different areas, and so people have the momentum, have clarity, have the support to make those decisions and keep moving forward to get to the business they want to create.
Absolutely, and being able to not just make the decisions, but as you're saying, have the momentum and moving forward, that is so critical, because a lot of us, it's in human nature, we'll make a decision and then we, like a New Year resolution, for instance, and then 2 or 3 months later it's forgotten. So what I'm doing is I'm putting everything in place to help solopreneurs actually execute for the whole year, where they're going to go, here is my plan, and now I'm working my plan and getting the help that they need to be able to do that. Because I don't want people to work in isolation. I don't want people to just go out and try to figure this out on their own, and then speaking to different people who are not connected. I mean, to give an example, I spoke to somebody not long ago, and I gave them very straightforward advice that was really well connected in terms of what they need to do, when they need to do it, etc. And the following week, they came back to me and said, well, I've spoken to 2 of my other coaches and they disagreed, and we should have been doing this instead. And I'm going, okay, in that case, you're not going to have a good strategy, because the other coaches are looking at it in isolation for what they are teaching. For instance, if you have something like if you have a YouTube coach, they're going to focus on YouTube. When you have a Facebook coach, they're going to focus on Facebook. And what I try to do is I focus on how you're going to start your business, and move from here is people who's interested in the service or problem you can solve, and where you take them in terms of that's your problem solved, and how do you communicate that? How do you get them interested in you? How do you build up the know, like, and trust? So for me, it's all about being a whole system, a holistic system of how you act. And nothing is in isolation. We're not doing anything that goes go off to try to do this. It's all connected. It's all purposeful while you're doing it.
Yeah, and it's really important for people who are building their business and or growing their business, or the word of 2020, pivot your business, what adjustments that need to be made moving forward, to have someone, or to have you, to show that the big picture and that connective thread, and how everything needs to be connected to get over here to the whatever that is. Not that there's one end result, but to a place of having success and connecting and really making the impact that you're looking to make. So Steve, I want to leave you with one kind of last yet broad question. Is we're just at the beginning of 2021, a year with a lot of unknowns. What are your thoughts on people stepping into the solopreneur field, or shifting from, whether they're leaving corporate or maybe they've had to leave corporate because of the circumstances, and stepping into something that they want to do? Do you think now is a good time?
Well, I will say this. There's nothing more rewarding and nothing more challenging as a career, in my opinion. But here's the thing. It is very rewarding. When you do it right, it can be very scary. You're walking away from your support network, i.e. when you're in corporate business, you're able to tell other people what they need to do. You have the accountants or the finance department who's doing all of your expense reports and things like that. When you're a solopreneur, the key thing is do it. If you're in any shape or form in doubt of what you're doing, then plan first. Have your target market sorted out before you make the leap. If you're forced to make a leap, get your proper education in. One of the challenges here is that there is no university for solopreneurs. There's no marketing degree for solopreneurs. You can't go and study it in one single place. You just have to be learning from other people. You have to have coaches. You have to have the support network. And like your own program, JV Mastery, it's a great program for me to be in. Now, that's a higher level than when you're starting out as a coach. but it's a great program for me to be. So even I, at my level, with 20 years of experience, I have coaches, and I will get advice. And everybody, when you're starting out, you need coaches, you need people who will actually help you doing it. And when you have that support network of people who can help you, then it's a really great career to get into.
Absolutely. And as you're saying this, I can see the value of speaking with you before someone even makes that final jump. Am I going to do this?
Absolutely.
Like, have this conversation first. This is what I'm thinking. This is, and how viable is it? And you can help someone in that decision-making process. So a lot of these questions are answered before they really kind of say, now I have a business. And some people just kind of create something without doing enough market research or understanding if the market really wants what it is that you're doing.
Absolutely.
So talk to Steve first, no matter what level. If it's just an idea stage, if you are new, or if you're taking your business to that next level, connect with Steve and take advantage. You've got some really great programs coming up, and highly recommend people take advantage of them.
Thank you very much, Krista. It's been a pleasure to be with you here and sharing.
Yes, my pleasure as well. Thank you everyone for joining the JVology Partner Spotlight. You can learn more at jvology.com, and of course on our Facebook group, which is JVology, the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit. And we look forward to, if you're watching this as a replay, hit the comments and we'll check back in and be happy to answer any questions and connect with Steve.
Wonderful.
All right, take care, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.